Thank you. Jeez.
And the interruptions just do not stop, do they?
No.
Welcome everyone to the Voice of the Terminus show. And today we're joined by Josh. Say hello, Josh.
Professionalism is it.
And we have Lex with us.
What's going on, people?
And in the background we have Shy, who will be taking your questions from chat to ask towards the end of the stream, our wonderful guest today. Say hello, Shy.
Hello, hello.
And now our guest, we're joined by Wisdom from the Guild Condemned to talk a little bit about Pantheon and see what gets him and what gets him not. Say hello, Wisdom.
What's going on, VOT? I want to thank y'all so much for having me on the show. Y'all do a great job on the Pantheon forums and the Pantheon Discord. It's just good stuff. Nice to meet all y'all.
Thank you.
I'm only going to say this once. Like, that voice. My God.
Yep, definitely.
Chocolate velvet.
I did mention that earlier.
So, Lex, you want to kick it off?
Sure. So, Wisdom, if you wouldn't mind, you want to give us a little info on your gaming background?
Oh, that's a trick. Let's see. You want it all the way in the beginning? You want to go the way back time machine and get back?
Way back.
Man, you can go as far as you want to go.
Ooh, all right. Well, to be honest with you, I used to be what they call the in-the-closet gamer, which I hid my gaming life from every which end and that. All my friends, definitely my ladies, girlfriends, they had no idea what was going on. But when I started in FPSs. FPSs were cool, like Counter-Strike 1.6, that kind of stuff like that. Sponsored some teams, went to the CPL. Didn't really make too much money off that, but it was all right. I mean, it was cool. They got to go down there and see how that stuff works, so that was cool. From there, I actually, it's funny, I kind of torched out my knee playing foosball, you know what I'm saying? Torched my knee and my back, and lost my scholarship after that, so I ended up going back to a different school. And when I got there, I was all like laid up for a long time, put my knee up, couldn't do nothing. So my brother brings over two things to me. He brings over Lost, if y'all remember that show, The Lost season 1 and season 2, when it first came out, right? So everyone was talking about the buzz, brought that, but he also brought me over a laptop with Star Wars Galaxies on it. You know what I'm saying? So it was the first MMO I got to dive into. But after that, you're talking about Star Wars. And then you're talking about Vanguard Saga Heroes. I know all y'all love that game. That's the Godfather himself, Mr. B-Rad McQuaid. Love you, man. It's good stuff. Oh, and going from there, that's where Condemned formed in Vanguard. And we moved on to the other games, like Warhammer. You got Rift. You got SWTOR World, First SWTOR, Good Times. You got Guild Wars 2, 30-0. What's up? Titan Alliance. Good stuff there. Tested some other games, like tested WildStar, the raid content. Tested Tesso before it came out for them, for the developers, stuff like that. But just really got into the MMO clique now. That's my thing. That's what I dig. And no more in the closet. No more hiding it from others. It's me. It's what I do. It's all about it.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah, that is great. So you've played many of these MMOs, clearly, and you've gone through multiple starting areas. If you had to start in a new starting area or a single area where all new characters spawn, which one would you choose? What do you prefer?
Oh, are you talking any game? Or are you talking Pantheon?
Just Pantheon.
Right, Pantheon. So for me, I'm all about the starting area mirror. I want to be a mirror. That's what I want to do for a couple reasons, right? I dig what classes they can be, which is Bard, which I'm big on. That's what I was in Vanguard. Bard #1. And do that. But the thing about what got me to the mirror and the starting areas is their story, right? There's a lot behind that story. I know all of them got stories, but I love the mirror story where, their worlds being struck by leviathans attacking from the sea. They weren't just destroying what's in the water, but they were destroying what was on the land too. And everyone, all the races on that planet were praying to the gods and the goddesses who were kind of bickering between each other, right? And they finally, a couple of the gods and goddesses were like, all right, we're going to do something. We need to do something to alleviate the strain on these people. So they went ahead and created the mirror. And the mirror were people kind of like a merfolk or like a mermaid, I guess you say, right? Kind of people like that. And they were the righteous Avengers. They were merciful, but they were just, and they knew when they needed to sacrifice themselves and their own good to stop and slay these Leviathans. So they did so, and they won, and then there was great harmony on there. But as we all know, well, I guess maybe not all of us, probably not everyone's dived into the lore like I have. That's all good. You guys have, but maybe not the listeners. Ended up going to Terminus, right? To get on Terminus. And on Terminus, the water poisons them. The water poisons them. So one of the gods went ahead and sacrificed himself, basically killed himself to make a bubble around the mirror. And the mirror could kind of live in that bubble for a little, but didn't last long. It kind of faded away, didn't last long. So the goddess, her name is spacing on me, but she's the main goddess that the mirror really, really dig. And this is kind of where the mirror turned from being good to kind of evil a little bit right here. Is this goddess went ahead and sacrificed her life to give the mirror. And this is why the mirror have two ways of travel. They can turn into a mermaid and be flipper in the water, or they can get on land and walk around, because she gave them the ability to walk on land and breathe the air. But she sacrificed herself. And through the time that the mirror cast away on the land, they became more hateful, more vengeful. And just throughout time, they just aren't quite as righteous as they once were.
See, I say that's what happens when you spend too much time around humans.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you should recap all the lore stories going forward. I think everybody would know the lore inside and out if you told it the way you do.
Very nice.
I just love that one. That felt good.
Awesome, awesome. So, a bit of trivia. What is the best movie you've ever watched and why?
Oh, all right. Hold on. Best movie. All right, let me think for a quick second. I'm going to give you two answers, because watched is one thing, like your environment, and then best movie is another thing too. All right. So I was just a little baby bird. I was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years old. And I was at the movie theater for a movie starring Mr. James Curry, aka now known as Jim Carrey, right? You know, shout out to Living Color. Back in the day, that's where we started out. But yeah, you go see Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. I was in the middle row, chilling, watching the movie, and everyone's laughing because no one's seen the zany comedy. No one's seen someone talk out of their booty before, okay? No one's seen anybody do that, right? So like 3 rows up, there was this cat that literally fell out of the aisle, right? Fell out of the seat into the aisle, was rolling around, laughing so hard in the aisle. It was the craziest thing. It is the first and only movie that I've had to see twice because I could not hear it. People were laughing so hard in there. So like the first time you see that, it's money. But I'll give you the best movie of all time. And a lot of cats feel this. I'm sure some of y'all feel this way too. The true movie, the truth, Mr. Morgan Freeman, Timothy Robbins, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a great, great movie. Was robbed at the Academy Awards by, it looks really for y'all. Do y'all know which movie stole that Best Picture from them that year?
It's probably forgettable, but yeah.
It is very forgettable, absolutely. It is The English Patient. So I hate The English Patient. To this day, I refuse to watch it. I will not see it. Anytime I see a copy of it, I take it and I hide it behind something else so no one has to see The English Patient.
I think I went to go see that movie in the cinema at the time it came out. And I must admit, I think 3/4 of the way through, I nearly closed my eyes and fell asleep.
It was
so boring.
It was a deadbeat movie.
So mind-numbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was no Shawshank.
It was no Shawshank. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's true. I've never seen The English Patient. I don't ever plan to either.
Good. Yeah.
So now I got to ask, when you're playing these MMOs or maybe even an FPS, do you prefer to play with real-life friends, or would you tend to gravitate and hang out with your online friends a little more?
Well, originally, I kind of alluded to this in that first answer, was I kind of hid gaming, right, from everybody. So just to give you an example of how far I would go to hide gaming. Because Condemned's been around for a quick minute. We've done a lot of, world first action, lots of raid progression. So it takes a lot of time, right? You got to be there. You got to be on all that good stuff. So I would do this with my girl at the time that I was living with. I had a studio downstairs in my basement, so I'd have a studio in there, so I could do some like voice recording and do some ditties. Used to write ditties for like commercial stuff like that. So I would be down there in the studio, and I would tell her, "Girl, I got things to do. Just stay upstairs, hang out, whatever you got to do. I got to go downstairs and work." Which technically was true, because I would have one computer like compiling some music or something like that, right? And then the other 5 computers I got down there, Dual Box and Rift or something like that, or Swotor. I'm just rolling with that thing. So she had no idea the entire time that was going on that I was playing games. But I would like to say now it's transitioning, that being with Condemned, we've been here for 10 years. It's like year 11 now, right? We started in Vanguard, and we're coming back around kind of full circle down to B-Rad McQuaid's game, who also made Vanguard, for all the baby birds out there that didn't know that. He is that these people that I've got to build these friendships with, they are my close friends. I got real sick in the last few years, right? And the people that reached out for me and tried to find me and tried to help me, like Loudon, the GM, tracked me down to find out, you know, I say GM just because that's what people know. He's a good friend of mine. Like, he's a personal friend. I mean, we go do stuff together. Like when Star Wars opens up in Orlando soon, that park, like we might have a little Condemned, you know, meeting down there, and then that'd be a good time for everybody. But these people are all my friends now. So there's no more in the closet. There's no behind things. So the people that weren't real life friends are real life friends.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
It's actually very nice that, in a way, society has shifted to where that has become the norm. And personally, I think that's a great thing.
I agree.
Yeah, and there's plenty of examples of good friendship and communities just being amazing, where you have more faith in humanity at the end of the day. When you hear stories about maybe a kid is dying of some sort of disease, and they'll go out and everybody will get together and support that kid and build stuff for that kid specifically so he can play and that type of thing. So yeah, friendships and good-hearted people are always out there to be found.
Yep.
So the class and race that you are typically drawn to when selecting your character to play, what do you look for? And specifically aimed towards Pantheon.
All right, yeah. So the classes that I look for is, well, first off, when Pantheon announced that there is going to be bards and necros like I care less about, but I know other cats dig them. Bards, that's what brought me into MMO gaming, was the bard, really, right? The bard was so cool and in Vanguard. So if the bard in Pantheon is even remotely, and the bard in EverQuest is cool too. So if it's any remotely like those types of bards, I think the intricate thing that Vanguard did, being able to build all these different songs that you could do, and it was really set them across, that makes one bard so much better than another bard, because they know what song for what opportunity for what stage, whether it's PvE or it's PvP or it's a mix, you got to switch back and forth kind of thing. Yeah. It made your group that much better if you had a bard that knew exactly what they were supposed to be doing.
Very true. And if bard wasn't available, what would be your fallback class? Yeah,
my fallback class. I used to play DPS a long time ago, but I got to the point where I got tired of needing healers, right? And good quality healers. I don't care what people say, that anybody can heal. No. Okay, anybody can hit the buttons to heal, but can someone do it properly and do a better job? That one healer can take the place of 3 healers because that healer is good enough to handle it, right? So I started playing healer a long time ago back in Rift. So healing. So cleric is what I would roll down to. I believe in Pantheon, right? The cleric's going to be more of a single target healer, I believe, right? Doesn't have the huge AoE stuff. Can't remember exactly, but that's the kind of style I would go with. I'd want to go with cleric for sure.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what was your first WoW moment in Pantheon?
Ooh, okay, so my first WoW moment, the absolutely truth on this is, first off, when I heard the game was coming out, I didn't know what it was. I didn't hear the Godfather's name attached to it. I didn't know it was, I heard Pantheon Rise of the Fawn. I'm like, okay. I didn't know it was Brad McQuaid's baby. I had no idea. So the first little bit, I didn't pay attention at all to it whatsoever. And then I heard from Little Bird that B-Rad McQuaid is the, you know, the lead man at VR. It's his company, right? And I was like, wait, VR's doing Pantheon, Vanguard, Bards. And I just started going crazy. Like, woo! It got me all fired up. So I was a little late to the ship, so to speak, compared to some cats that, you know, signed up the first day and all that kind of thing. But once I heard it was B-Rad McQuaid's, I was so pumped up because I just wanted to go back to that style of gaming, that style. I'm not all about, I mean, I know WoW is the most successful game of all time, which is some of it because other games keep failing, but it's just, it's not my cup of tea. I don't like that style. I like Vanguard style. I'm going to like Pantheon style. It's my favorite, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's something to say about that whole, I mean, yes, it's slower. Some people don't really care for that, but there's something to be said when you can actually get down with a group of folks, be it old friends or new acquaintances, and actually feel like you've connected with another human being. You know, that's why I love that style of game. It's what I miss immensely from the MMO genre.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Reputation matters across the entire server. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's...
So, oh, go ahead.
Well, you know, an MMO is something that you play for a long time, and it's the best place to make friends, isn't it? For, you know, that become real life friends in the end. You know, where like Wisdom said, you know, for me there is no difference between somebody online that I'm talking to or somebody who's my neighbour or anything like that, or work colleague at work as a friend. It's all the same. You know, it's how you connect with those individuals, and MMOs are the best place to do this, and you know, make everlasting bonds and experiences. So yeah,
absolutely. So we know what you're most excited about in terms of starting areas. Mir, what about your what's the one you're least excited for, and why aren't you really excited about it?
Like a starting area, or what am I, like a class I'm least excited
Well,
for?
we'll go with starting area.
I would say I've never been a big fan of dwarves. I know some people love dwarves and that kind of stuff, you know, but I'm just not a big fan of dwarves. You know, and it's not because I'm 6'4", you know, and I'm adversarial against people that are 3'2" or something like that. It's just the dwarves, you know. They got big hairy beards that go real long. They got a little crust in there. They got their second meal always up in there, you know, so they never get hungry. They always got the second meal carrying around with them. But it's just dwarves. Dwarves. I just can't do them. I just can't do a dwarf. Can't.
Fair enough.
Even though women have beards, so it's bad.
I didn't want to
that
die.
nasty.
No, I was going to say something, but.
So, what gaming cliche annoys you the most, and how do you ensure that it isn't present in Pantheon?
All right, that's a good question. All right, so, well, I know I'm a little bit behind enemy lines here, but I'm going to go ahead and speak a little bit on PvP, right? And the new kind of catchphrase is meaningful PvP. So our team, you know, has played a variety of MMOs, including, you know, ones that deemed PvP focused. You know, those games often not only revoke, you know, the tools and mechanics that allow high-end guilds to promote organized play, they often, you know, totally arbitrary reward system, which is silly. You know, the play style in those games is typically Zerg, right? And coordinate AoE, which I'm not a big fan of, and we played a bunch of them because it's the only games that were out and they're PvP, you know. So our guild started back in the day when Vanguard merged the faction-based PvP server with the free-for-all server into a single free-for-all server. All the other servers went PvE, and you could, you know, fairly say that the overall Vanguard game was a PvE game. That's kind of how it was developed, right? But, well, for us, it offered some of the most purest, I'm going to say meaningful, again, PvP we've ever experienced in a game, right? It didn't have some type of meaningless match system with Battleground here, Warzone there. There was no grinding points to get PvP gear. The PvP gear was Raz Angur, was Ancient Port Warehouse. It was all that stuff, right? It was the Queen's area before Ancient Ports came out. It was all that. Hagnarian. It was all of that. And you fought over it right there, everything. You know, if some other cat and myself wanted to harvest some mithril node, that was, you know, the big harvesting node back in that game, you know, you could do an all call from the guilds. Next thing you know, you got like a 30-person fight over a harvesting node. I mean, come on. It was what I like to call organic PvP. And that's what I love. I don't like forced, which is jump in a war front, do this, have bots running around in there doing stuff, just collecting AFK stuff. No. I like the PvE-based game, like a Vanguard, which hoping Pantheon is very similar. I like that. And then has the PvP that goes along with it.
Yeah. If I can step in for just a second, I have a question concerning PvP. Because I know you've played SWTOR. I enjoyed their PvP in the early year. Early year, the first year. Because I'm a fan of large health pools. It makes the battle longer, it makes it more intense, in my opinion. What do you feel is better for PvP? Larger health pools or smaller?
I like a little bit smaller, so I like to do like a halfway in between that, because you are correct. I mean, we were the #1 guild in the world in SWTOR for the first tier of content, and then #2, first in the US for the second tier. We also dominated all the war fronts. We dominated Ilum. I can't even remember losing in Ilum once. I'm not trying to like toot our own horn or something like that, but it just goes to show you those health pools you're talking about. That brings us to that, because all of our healers, like our trooper healers, like myself, Trey, Crickets, a couple other cats, we would have the best gear, right? So you had the best gear and you know what you're doing. It was almost impossible for someone to kill me. It was impossible for like 4 guys to come out, even if they were when the game first came out, the smugglers, right? The smugglers that could invade, and they had the crazy DPS. Yeah. They had to nerf those guys pretty good. Yeah. It was even hard for those to kill them once you got fully geared, because of just the healing and survivability a trooper in full that heavy could do, which was absurd. So I prefer that in-between route. I don't want to be there living forever. I feel that if 4 people jump me out of stealth in the back, it should kill me. There should be nothing I can do if an organized group jumps me in the back with me not paying attention, not noticing, right? I should be dead if they're all DPS, do the cooldowns properly. It's ridiculous if I can just be late. Oh, I'm getting attacked. Oh, okay. Let me heal a couple of times. You got all that time, and then you're back to full.
Right.
So I prefer the in between.
Yeah. No, you make some very good points.
Yep. Nice. I like it. Good approach.
So let's go into a bit of speculation here and food for thought, based on a funny response from Brad when we did our first dev interview. What would you look forward to the most in Pantheon if virtual reality was a part of it?
Oh, that's a quick. So let me ask you this. Is this the virtual reality that you get like with your Samsung phones? You put those goggles on? Are we talking virtual reality like Matrix style where you just transport it right in? You know what I'm saying?
Let's go with your version, the in-between.
In between, all right. So I can still see pixels a little bit. Okay, I got you. What I would dig is, the thing I would love most would be to see the world, which would be cool. And that's coming from a cat that's PvP all the time. So there's 2 things I'd love to see is the world and the experience, because Vanguard and Pantheon, they have a vast world that is not fast travel really, right? So you could go across, you could see so many different things, you could see so many different cool places, which was a really cool part of the game. And that's coming from somebody that usually doesn't care at all about that kind of stuff, right? I want to get max level instantaneously, start getting into the raid progression, get all the gear, get all the stuff to PvP, do all that stuff. But I think that would be super cool. Then of course as well, seeing your holy staff of righteousness bringing down holy thunder and fear on your enemies, would be pretty cool too.
Very cool.
Oh wait, it's my go, isn't it?
It's your go, Lex. We're waiting.
I'm sorry, I
the
was mesmerized.
awkward silence.
Hey, I was mesmerized. Leave me alone. I was too busy idolizing. Okay, maybe if Wisdom did that, it'd be entertaining. So, in terms of PvP, or sorry, in terms of PvE, which do you prefer? Raiding, exploring, grouping, or crafting, and why?
All right, I'll rate them first. PvP first. I know you said PvE, but PvP first.
Yeah.
And then the next ones we go. I'm not a big into PvE. I do enjoy competition, so I enjoy progression rating. So that would be number 2. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me rearrange. Crafting would be number 2. I've always been a huge crafter. Team C&D Condemned has always been a very, very big self-sustaining guild, which means we craft our own stuff. We have some of the cats that are the biggest crafters, at least on the server, more than often than not in the world on all the servers, right? So we're big into that, and I love crafting. I love it. Like Rift was so cool. You could sit there and make little things, and everything. If y'all played Rift, everything you did in Rift gave you like a server first. So I would sit there and just craft server first, left and right. It was crazy. People were like, "What's going on? What's going on?" Yeah, it was a good time. So crafting, progression rating, I dig progression rating just because of that competition, just to get that. And I'm going to loop grouping in because I'm thinking when most people ask that question, grouping is really, they talk about like going out with like 3 or 4 people. I don't like that. I don't like solo either. Team C&D is all about togetherness. We've been around 10 years, right? We want cats that want to play together. We don't like to leave people behind. We move people along. We prefer cats that are going to have that team-based attitude, right? We don't care. You know, some people think we're elitist because we got all these world first. We're not. We would much rather have people that are just good people, listen, follow directions, and will be friends, right? Than these people that have maybe just crazy skill up, but they don't listen, they don't follow directions. The first sign of trouble, they bail. You know what I'm saying? We don't need that. We don't want that. And that's what you get a lot with that elitist attitude stuff. So when I think of grouping, I think of harvesting groups. I think of the crafting team. I think of the progression rating. I think of in Pantheon or in Vanguard, I think of you'd have the progression team that does the PvE, then you'd have another group that surrounds it for the PvP, right? So you'd have just a lot of people working together for one symbolized cause. That is the betterment of the guild, which in that case is betterment for each and every member. And I hate to say member because that's the worst term. We look more for teammates than members because there's a pretty big difference between a member and a teammate.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's true.
That's why Lexa is only a member.
I hate the rest of these guys.
So you've made your thoughts pretty clear about dwarves. So the next question: should size matter or height matter in an MMO? And just to add to this, a bit of flavor to this question, if an MMO actually catered and did a few things around size in its questing, etc., would you enjoy that?
Yes, I would, and I'll tell you why. So I've always, typically in the games that we play, because for some reason people have the hardest time assisting or calling targets and finding people easily, so they tend to typically attack the biggest thing that's in the front. Don't ask me why. They just do that, and it's been constant for 10 years. And, hey, I'm happy that they keep doing it. Thank you so much. Go ahead doing that. So I was starting to get to the point where I noticed all this a long time ago. I'm just going to make my character the smallest they possibly be. So I changed from being a male character. This was the main reason. And then I changed to the females because they typically could be smaller. They were much thinner. They were much smaller. They just could be smaller across the board. And they could be shorter as well. So I would then be the shortest I possibly could be. And then I would do stuff like this because it just blows my mind why some people this happens. But I did play some Warcraft for like a quick minute. I played that with some friends for a little while. And there's something called like moonkins, right? They were these big things that would turn into these big, fuzzy, furry, I don't know, big bird things, something like that. And we would be in these battlegrounds, and people are just, just, I don't know. Some people are just don't do the most intelligent things. So I would stand in the center. Literally, I would stand in my little holy paladin in the center of my buddy who was playing the Moon King. We'd stand in the middle of a point at Arathi's Basin. I would just sit there and heal him nonstop. And they would not notice that I was there the entire time. So 8 people would be trying to kill him. No one would be silencing me. No one would be hitting me. No one would be doing anything because they just, for some reason, couldn't figure out it because they don't know how to tap target. They don't know how to assist. They don't know how to do anything. I don't get it. And that would work about 75% of the time. And it's just like, come on, y'all. So, yeah, I went to smaller. You know, the skill cap of people these days now is a little bit better that they can kind of figure that out. But still, you know, I'm just kind of stuck in that smaller zone. So I think it'd be cool for that. And then like, ogres, like, okay, so if someone's going to be an ogre, you're huge. Why should I be able, as a mirror, to be able to hold the same amount of stuff or carry the same amount as an ogre? But I should be faster, I would think, right? So if they're going to do stuff like that, I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be really hard to do with all the different classes and races they got rolling. But I think it would be really cool if they can figure it out.
It would almost take the spot of like the racial mods that you would see in a lot of the older games.
Yeah.
And maybe there's room for damage resists on larger classes like we are.
See, that's the thing, you know. That's, you know, with all our shows and everything, and we often talk about stuff like this, and you know, then you got the argument of, well, you know, I can't carry as much as an ogre, and this, but you know, hey, not everybody can be the hero in this story, you know, and there should be differences with all the characters and all the races and all the classes. You know, each should have their benefits and their disadvantages, and you know, I would love it to see something like that where size does matter, where one can carry more, maybe one has more stamina, the other one, you know, an ogre's not going to run forever, is he?
No.
That's where his deficit would be. He wouldn't be able to run as long as, you know, maybe a halfling or a mere, you know, and that's where the balance comes in. It would be great to see something like that where they actually go into the full immersion of a character and how they each evolve in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%.
So, what are your thoughts on in-game stores? What type of items, if any, would you be happy with?
You just asked it, didn't you? You just asked me a question about cash shops. Let me just say this right off the bat. Cash shops are the downfall of MMO society, okay? They are. They're just awful. I cannot stand. I just recently played a game called Arcade, and I think some of y'all probably have heard of that game. It would have been a really good game if there wasn't this giant pay-to-win aspect where people could jump thousands of dollars into it and just basically enhance their characters. So they could make it so if they don't have any good skill to themselves, they could go ahead and spend 10 grand and be skilled because of that, by getting their gear up like that. So I'm not a fan of that. I could understand if they're going to be cosmetics. So you got a cooler looking jacket or something, but it better not give me bonuses.
Yeah.
It better not give me XP bonus for like when the game first comes out. I don't want to see XP scrolls. I don't want to see things like that. I'm just not a fan of cash shops. I would love if you put a cash shop in, you sell me merchandise, such as, can I get a Pantheon shirt? Can I get a mirror? You know, what else? Things you put your beverages on, coasters, like mirror coasters, something like that. I would pay for that stuff. Well, before I would pay for this, but I know they're profitable. I know people will spend, and that's why so many games do it, because they want money, and I get it.
But it is annoying. I totally see that.
Yep, definitely.
Oh yeah.
But it's got to be Ash, you know, with us asking these questions, and you know, all the guests that we have.
Cash shops are so prevalent in most MMOs these days that even though everyone doesn't like them, they're still there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things where the more you ask it, the more people are going to be honest about it, and maybe the people who are making these games Korea will actually listen and try something a little better.
Yep.
So, since we already hit the cash shop question, we'll ignore that portion, and I'll just go ahead and ask, what other things don't you want to see in Pantheon that you might see in another game?
All right, so this is easy for me. I do not want to see a flying mount. Okay, I don't want to be flying around from here to there, here to everywhere. I like the slow travel for a reason. I like that, right? I don't need to be flying above stuff. It makes problems, and just PvE, just getting where they play places, I get it. But PvP, it makes problems too. It make a lot of problems in PvP. So I don't want to see no flying mounts. And I really want to see the M put back in MMOs. What I mean by that is I mean meaningful multi let me say that again. Multi-person, you know, massive players, right? Multi-massive players. I almost said that right. Anyway, we'll keep rolling. I want to see people together, and I want to see them grouped up. I don't need to have any friends whatsoever. I can do a dragon or a dungeon find and just join a dungeon group. I don't want to have no friends ever, and I want to just go ahead and click this button and get into a war front. I don't want that. I want the world to be the war front. I want the world, the environment, the PvP. I want all that. And I think it's cool if you put little finders in game, like possibly in the guild chat or guild searches, so people can find guilds and find other people that are actively doing stuff in the game. That's cool, but I don't want something that's just going to teleport me to a spot, instantly put me with 7 random people that 2 of them are bots or not paying attention. And it's just, I don't want any of that. I want the group, the massive multiplayer back in it, not just zerging around, not just doing that kind of jazz, but I want people actually working together as a team.
People thinking about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So true. So, what are your thoughts on apps that could enhance your experience with Pantheon that does not have any bearing within Pantheon itself? So, for instance, you could see your character sheet maybe on your phone app, damage ratings maybe, guild enhancement tools, etc.
Okay, I am all for those. Those are cool. I'm glad you specified because I was about to go off about some games about like I hate to say WoW again, but WoW's got it's the most popular game of all time, so good for them, lots of money and subscribers. But my goodness, you can get these healing apps that you just click on a raid frame and it automatically de-cleanses, heals, and it tells you when you're about to stand in fire and stuff. How do people die? How do you not get through content instantly when it tells you everything that's about to happen? I don't understand it. It tells you when you haven't, your consumables consumed. It's just, so those I don't want to see. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to see none of those. But, damage meters are cool. I can handle that. Healing HPS meters. There was actually a really good one in Warhammer. I know this won't matter for most. Actually, this would matter because it would help people in PvE as well. There was a mod that would tell you how many people in your group are assisting on a given target. So the target that you mark, right? It would tell you if you got a rate of 24 and you say, everyone, all right, get on the war off to the left for killing that one first. And your mark says only 7 people are doing it. You're like, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're going to wipe. Okay, come on. Then you got the one cat's like, I'm hitting it. No, I'm watching you. You are across the map hitting a skeleton. Get over here, attack the werewolf, let's go.
Exactly.
Like that,
Yeah.
Is it sad that I remember that happening?
Oh, it happens so often, doesn't it?
Well, specifically in Warhammer, I remember that one moment where you're like, all right, assist me. And then you realize that there's like 4 guys doing it, and there's 25 here, and you're just like, really?
Yep, that was a big thing in Warhammer. That was the best app ever. So I'd love to see someone make that again because I have not seen it since.
That's good.
So you've kind of already talked about some of the genders you've played. Does it matter what gender you play? And I'll go a bit deeper in this question as well. Is a gender choice based on class or race for you?
Yeah, pretty much for me. So it doesn't really matter. I do remember when everyone used to think if you were a female toon. Let me tell you this. This is a funny story. So we were playing EverQuest 2 a long time. We were playing with one of my buddies. And I made, because I was starting to get in that frame of mind that I would just make myself the smallest I could possibly be to hide from PvP and that kind of stuff in different places a little easier. So I made the tiniest little elf that I could make, and she was really small. And we were out and about in the starting area. I'd been in the game for 10 minutes. I was running around. Someone sent me a PM and said, "Hey, how you doing there, cutie?" And I was like, I'm just thinking when my voice come back, I'm coming like, "Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing?" Stuff like that. And he was like, "So what are you doing? Are you new here?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just new to the game, just playing here with my friend." He's like, "Oh, you on a game date?" And I was like, what in the world is a game date? I had never heard of this before. This is like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I didn't know what a game date was. So I asked my buddies, like, "Dude, what is a game date?" He said, "I have no idea. Why are you asking me? I know what a game date is. There's still things we're on a game date." He's like, "Yeah, you guys have a great time on your game date." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So, man, people would just assume if you were a girl tune that you were a girl. Yeah, because a lot of fewer girls played back then. So now there's tons of cats that play. Older, female, male, whatever, doesn't matter. Younger, absolutely, it's cool. But now I forgot what the question was. I got too busy talking.
Does gender matter?
Gender matter, yeah. So, not really. If it is a certain abilities that I get for being a certain race that only has females in it, maybe it's like an Amazon race of some sort or something like that in the game, then yeah, I have no problem doing that. I think it's cool. But usually I just build the smallest type of character I can, which is usually the female characters. I still kind of, even though it doesn't matter as much, I still kind of do that.
Right. Since you mentioned that Amazon idea, I'm going to jump in again. Sorry. What are your feelings on gender-locked classes?
Good question.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally cool with all of that being the case. So if there's an Amazon, I think, remember Diablo 2, Lords of Destruction and that stuff? There were gender-locked ones, right? There was the paladin who was a guy, right? And then there was a sorceress, and then the Amazon obviously made sense. How can a guy be an Amazon? It's just not the way the lore works. So I'm cool with that. If it's going to bother some people, I'm 100% not having it in a game. Like I wouldn't be one of those that's going to be, on the, go on a crusade about it or anything like that. Yeah. I'm cool with whatever the masses want, whatever the manufacturers do, because I think there might be some blowback nowadays where maybe someone's going to get upset. And all it takes is one person to get upset. I'm cool with just going with the flow with the majority of people if they want to do that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think it adds more character to the game itself by having less to have things gender locked in a certain, because it adds more flavor ultimately, I feel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, it always comes down to as well, where they're drawing their lore from. Is it based on real life? Is it based on previous characters? Like Wisdom said, Amazons. Yeah, they were always female. There wasn't a male Amazon. So it doesn't make sense to have a male. But if you want to go and try something different, you might bring in a male. But if it doesn't fit their lore, fit their game style, then they're perfectly fine. But if they go around gender locking class based on classes, that's where I kind of draw the line. That's why I say that doesn't make sense what you're doing there. You're gender locking based on a class. So I can't be a male gunner, for instance. That's where it gets ridiculous. But if it's based on the race itself, it's perfectly fine, not class. That's where I would draw the line.
Oh, I agree with that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So we know there's a lot of people that aren't from Condemned watching, and I'm pretty sure some of them want to get a little stalkery. But we're going to ask this question anyway. Are you currently playing anything while you wait for Pantheon?
Not so much. We got cats that play. We got League of Legends people playing that. A lot of Fortnite action. Some cats have just started playing Tesso a little bit. Playing a lot of different games. Just nothing the Condemned style or the Condemned way in anything. You know what I'm saying? At this moment, we are waiting with bated breath for Pantheon to go across the horizons, right? Star Citizens on the horizon whenever that mythical beast comes out. All right, whatever.
Yep.
A piece of vaporware.
Collecting his dollar bills, living on this island. So that's all good. But no, just a lot of stuff to keep things together. We're doing like a Condemned Fantasy Football League, a 20-man league, just for fun to have it. We do a weekly show on it, and just stuff to keep things kind of flowing. D&D, for all y'all to say that. That's right. This, if you would have asked me this 5 years ago, I would have never said this word. These words would never left my mouth. I love D&D, right? So D&D is money, and oh, we play that too. So we got games that are going like that. We're probably going to start some other campaigns to get other cats involved. It's just going to be cool stuff like that. So just kind of together things that we can do in the meantime.
Excellent. So back to Pantheon. What environments are you looking most forward to spending time in when you're in the game?
Yeah, so the environments that I'm most looking forward to in Pantheon would be, I dig, let's see. I would really like, all right, so the environments that I love the most about in Pantheon would be, I like the highly contested ones, you know. I dig the ones like, same thing if I'm rolling to a club, you know what I'm saying? I love the highly contested for a certain target. That's what it's all about, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be up in there. I want to have PvE. I want to have PvP. I want to have possibly there being some sort of harvesting area in that area that is higher end stuff that if you want to go get the best harvesting mats or that kind of thing, that you may have to venture a little farther in the world to go get it. And you got to run through this kind of stuff. It's more dangerous territory. I dig all that. I want a target-rich environment. And I think that is exactly what I would dig. I want the PvE. I want the PvE. I want it all to coalesce right in there and kind of bring it all together.
Excellent. Nice.
So, what feature in character creation could you do without with, and why?
Oh, okay. So what feature? What feature I go without with? Well, there's a couple of things. I've never been on making my character the most beautiful thing that possibly can be. Now, in the last few games that I've played, they'd allowed it so you can save your template and then you can load it, right? So for us, before in Condemned, our biggest thing would be in some games, especially if it wasn't like an environment rich, so there was no storyline involved into it. It was just, okay, let's just go level as quickly as we can, get to the next level and count rolling into PvP or progression rating, right? In those situations, like for Rift, for example, I didn't care what I made Wisdom look like. I was clicking buttons, click, 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 Wisdom name saved. Okay, I got it. Let's go in game like that, right? I didn't care what it looked like. I didn't care about any of that stuff. In Arcades, I was able to save the template, shrink it down, make it as small as I could, change stuff around. I could give her cheekbones, all that kind of stuff, whatever you want to do, you know. I think for me, I don't need all that detail. It doesn't really matter. I prefer more of the game. I don't need all the looks and fancies and bells and whistles. I don't need that stuff. But I do know people love it. So put it in, keep it rolling. I'll make it as unique as you can. I think like Star Citizen's doing that thing where you take the webcam shots of your face or something like that, and it shows up on your cockpit or like right like that, you know, so people can actually see you in game. So hey, if they want to do that in all the MMO too, that you can literally take your shot of your face and put it so it kind of makes your character look like you. That's cool. Knock yourself out, because I'm sure people will dig it.
So a little cat just whispered to us, we should ask you about Star Wars Galaxy Dancer.
Oh my goodness! Oh man, I have no idea what they're referring to. I
don't know. I'm seeing someone saying they took you shopping and everything.
Shopping? You can shop in Galaxies? How does that work? I didn't know. I don't even remember that.
For some reason now I can just picture like, you know, a Twi'lek or whatever how you pronounce it, with a little like Macy's shopping bag going hut to hut on Tatooine.
I think it's Twi'leks, right? It's Twi'leks. I think
that's it.
I don't know either. See, I know so little about Star Wars. I don't know. These posters behind me, they were put up by the production staff. They are not mine. So I don't know. I don't know nothing about that.
Oh God.
That's good.
No, I
So-
will say this though. I'm a brother who does like to shop though. So I will go shopping. I got 75 pairs
Yes.
of shoes and 85
Well,
suits. So let's go.
Apparently,
no problem.
Pirates
Wow.
is saying we're supposed to ask you about how she drove you around in her craft and went clothes shopping.
My brain, I'm so fuzzy.
I
was
know,
thinking
you
about
just
it.
don't
it's
recall
so fuzzy.
any
I
of
just don't
that.
recollect any of this
You know,
stuff.
she's gonna give you a lot of crap for not remembering.
I know she hates it when I forget, but that just happens sometimes. It just,
And all I can say is give them hell. Now, a player Q&A wouldn't be complete if we didn't ask you about Condemned.
Exactly.
So can you give us a quick, well, maybe not a so quick one, but a good rundown of what Condemned is, what it's about?
all right, yes, I'd be more than happy to. All right, so where to start? Let's kind of, I guess we'll roll back the way back time machine once again. All right, so Condemned was formed way back in Vanguard, and we played a crap ton of MMOs up through Guild Wars 2, like a lot of them, right? We've also, significant success along the way, scoring many server first, and of course, world first, people, Soul Tour, Rift, Guild Wars 2, We've been playing for over a decade, and most of the leadership here, right, is that we've been here the whole time. Like myself, Tragic, Loudon, Z's been here almost the whole time. He's been here for like 8 years, Jay-Z. And Piratus, it's funny, Piratus technically has not been here the whole time, but she was one of the guilds we fought in Vanguard. She was in the Titan Alliance with us in Guild Wars 2, and she also, this is a small world, right? So this is how PvP people follow each other around without even knowing they're following each other around. She was in an alliance versus us in Rift. So we literally have fought Piratus in 3 of the titles we played and been fighting with her the other ones. So it's pretty cool. So she finally got on board and saw the Condemned way about a year and a half ago, but she's fantastic.
So
that's pretty cool.
so does that mean that you won a lot more battles against her than she did against you guys?
Well, I don't want to say. Yeah, absolutely. She can talk about that.
Trying to pull up the notepad with the tally marks.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that we've done is we're not elitist at all, right? So we're not doing any of that stuff. So even with the stuff that we've done in these games, and when we beat people, we don't rub it in. We don't do any of that stuff. We got the willingness to kind of, with our teammates, to learn and just be teammates, not members. That when we see these cats like Piratus, she respected us on the battlefield because when we beat her, we didn't go out there and do the and the ridiculous
face.
The disrespect kind of stuff. We've never done that. If anyone does that, we remove them from the guild. We don't do that. We let our actions speak for our words. Our words can carry some weight, but those are only form trolls and just ridiculous. No one's going to remember what you say unless it's full of hate. They don't remember positive. They remember hate. But if your actions are there, you're good right there. Yeah. So I guess really the thing that I guess is like the most important to point out is that we are a competitive guild in both PvP and PvE. Our guild actively works to stamp out that elitist attitude I was talking about. We just junk it to the side, right? We respect not only our members, I said members again, it's not really members. People are used to that word, teammates. Everyone here is a teammate, right? Yeah. But also our adversaries. And like I said, this is kind of where I say, in fact, right? We got a lot of cats that used to fight against us and they're now with us, which is pretty cool. Or they got with us for the Alliance in Guild Wars 2 when we set up the Titan Alliance, which is pretty cool. And then I guess the last thing I'll cover, well, I guess 2 more things I'll throw out there, right? 2 more things I want to touch on is crafting and our lit program. Because a lot of people know us from PvP and PvE, okay? We've done a lot of stuff like that, world first and all that stuff. A lot of people don't know that we craft a lot and they don't have no idea what a lit program is. No one knows what that is. All right, so what we do is crafting and lit. So what most people don't really associate with a competitive PvP and raiding guild is crafting. We're into crafting. We have a highly organized and active crafting department. And it's something that, if you're jam, you definitely want to give us a look. If that's your thing, right? you definitely want to give us a look if you love crafting, because we'll do that too. We're not just PvP, we're not just PvE. We do the whole thing, harvesting the gambit. You know, I might even throw up a crafting stream coming up here sometime, right? Where you can all watch little babies out there can watch me craft away and stream and all that kind of good stuff.
But a good thing, yeah. Just to interrupt, I mean, crafting is going to be a major component in Pantheon as well. So yeah, definitely up your guys' alley.
Absolutely. I hope what they do too. I'm getting sidetracked again. Sorry. I hope what they do is they chuck in the stuff they did in Vanguard, where you had to have the crafters on the raid run, so they had to get their loot from there and do those stuff. That was cool. I hope they do that. I hope they do that. But I guess, okay, the last thing I'll say then, I want to mention our lit program. This is cool. So this is our leadership and training program. You know, as I said earlier in the show, there are member development. That's what we're into. We're big into member development, right? We also offer a merit-based advancement in the guild. So as I said before, that all of our council has been basically around since the beginning, right? Piratus wasn't. Piratus has been a very valued member of our team for about a year and a half, and her husband Nevron. Piratus has already become part of the council because of the work drive she has. She is amazing. She's just a great person. She made our website, which I'll kind of holler at later on a little about that too. A little selfless plug, shameless right there. But we are always looking for that team-based attitude. Okay, that's all we care about in the guild. Those admitted into the program will shadow and assign member or leadership for up to 3 months. 1, 2, 3 months. Upon a successful program completion, you will become an officer in the guild in your various place. And like on our website, there's all sorts of things. You can see what we have. Raid leads, streaming, all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. Merchandise, a lot of cool stuff we got going on. So
Nice.
if y'all cats want to roll in for that kind of thing, that's really what Condemned's really all about. We keep our hands in the pot. We do it all.
Cool. So,
And I gotta say that being a large and very successful guild and trying to counter that elitist attitude is something that I find extremely refreshing, because through my own personal experience, I gave up on PvP because of that elitist attitude where I might be learning and you get the negative comments, oh, you suck, you're a terrible player, you should just quit now and stuff, and you're like, why would I bring myself or expose myself to this? Whereas it really feels, at least on my end, that with Condemned, even if you have a mild interest in PvP, but you've always shied away from it because you don't feel like you have the skill, that won't matter with Condemned.
You're absolutely correct. And I won't say their names because I don't want them to get embarrassed. But we've had a few cats that, for Pantheon, just Pantheon here, they've never played PvP ever in any game. They go the EverQuest for 99, and they're doing the raid progression in that. Then they've done like WoW progression, but they've never actually done the PvP stuff from the older game. So this is their first time around with PvP. And of course, we explain that we are a PvP and PvE guild. If your big thing is that you love PvE and want to be on the progression team, as long as you're able to make the times and push hard and that kind of stuff and listen to all directions, that's fine. But there'll also be times where there'll be a taste of PvP that you're going to be a part of. So you need to be able to do that. And never, ever will there be an outburst in TeamSpeak, in Discord, whatever, where you have especially a raid leader or a guild officer or a council member that is going to yell at you. And if something like that does occur, where if someone steps out of line and says something inappropriate to another member, or just inappropriate in whatever the case may be, I'll use your example. Lexor was just if they're going to just treat you bad for not knowing how to do something. No. We have the raid leaders in Condemned, and then we have the leadership, which is also in the channel as well. The raid leaders lead the raid. The leadership and whoever the officers, they watch and monitor the rest. Okay, they do all that stuff. So, for example, if I'm in there and there's 50 people in the channel and we got someone leading the raid, like Loud's leading the raid, someone just starts mouthing off. Loud doesn't deal with that. I deal with that. I take them, pull them to another channel, have an honest conversation with them, see if we can remedy the situation and move on. Typically, it's fine and not a big deal, and we can go back to what we're doing. But there's times that you got those elitists, you got that kind of stuff. that we're just not looking for that. We just want people. I'd much rather have a cat that's half the skill of that elitist person, but will listen, follow directions, and willing to learn, because we'll make you good.
Yeah.
100%.
So I've got 2 questions. First one. Is Condemned branched out in multiple games? Because you mentioned that you guys have played all over the board, but do you have branches out there where you have, you know, people that are playing Rift or Star Wars Galaxies, this, that, and the other, or is it actually, you know, you guys are jumping on all these different games, but when Pantheon comes out, that's where Condemned as an entity will be? That's the first question.
Yes, so absolutely. So like I said before, we got cats that are playing various different games, trying to keep people together as much as we can with just community stuff going on, like I said, the Fans Football League, games, stuff like that, D&D, all that kind of jazz, right? But when Pantheon, this is what we're all gathered for, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, this is the next game that we're going to be playing. This is the big deal. This is the big ticket. So the closer that we get, the farther we move along, the more we get involved in the community and that kind of stuff like that, we're going to be doing a lot more things. And speaking of community, we're going to be doing some different Pantheon-related shows coming up here soon. So that'll be pretty cool. So everyone can check those out in the near future. Probably not for another about 30 days or so, but it's going to be pretty cool. Do some cool things like that. So we really just want to... Pantheon's what we're getting all jazzed up for, right? We're also invested in Star Citizen as well. That's another one, title we're doing. So there's a possibility if these games are out at the same time, which I sincerely doubt, that we will be playing both at once with 2 different types of divisions, right? But I sincerely doubt the Star Citizen's coming anywhere near when Pantheon is coming out.
Cool. So my second question. You guys have stated, or you've stated yourself, that you're into PvE and into PvP. And you like a bit of both. But... based on what VR are currently planning to do, they're looking at basically having your PvE server and your PvP and maybe some RP servers, different shards. Where will the core focus be? Or, you know, will you guys branch out on both, a PvE server if it's only a PvE and a PvP server, or how would Condemned go about that?
I like that you asked that question. So exactly, we are formed as a PvP guild first, but we are also obviously, with all of our progression that we do at PvE as well, we do those at both a very high level. So if we can get, so be rad and your team are listening to this, free for all, free for all, free for all. We would prefer a free for all server on there instead of a team PvP, because there was a few issues that we ran into on the team PvP server that we wish we would have just went on the free for all to begin with, such as, I don't know if y'all are familiar with like the monk. People would run around with the monk, carry around mobs that are on your own team because they don't like you, feign death, and all the mobs would attack your raid, stuff like that. So we don't particularly like that. We would like, if someone's going to do that, that we should be able to attack back and take care of that individual. So we got no problem if they want to do that, as long as we deal with it if we need to. So free for all would be great, but we're definitely going to be in PvE, but we will not do both servers. So it's going to be one rule set. We will be on the PvP free for all if it's available, or team PvP if that's the only one that is available. We will be doing that, but we will be focusing on PvP, PvE, crafting, harvesting, the works across the board. All the stuff will all be part of Condemned.
Cool. You guys got a question, or was I going to throw in a third?
Go for it.
All right then. So you guys seem to be very open, and you've already mentioned alliances and the relationship to Piratress, going back and forth, having her stalk Condemned. Are you guys open to alliances in Pantheon? Would you like to see something like that in Pantheon? And we kind of lost Wisdom.
My bad. My bad. Hold on a second. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
back.
We hear you. Your camera's just not there. There we go.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Technical difficulty.
That was the question that did it all.
Like, I heard that question. I can't answer that. I'm out. I just did the pull out the club and pull it out. All right. So, can you ask that question one more time?
So, you already talked about how Piratress basically stalked Condemned through multiple games before becoming a fully pledged member or part of the team. Are you guys open to alliances, and would you like to see something like this? Because back in 2016, Joppa kind of touched on guild warfare and guild alliances. Would you like to see something like that? Would you be open to it? And what kind of guilds would be welcome in an alliance system with Condemned?
All right, so first and foremost, if a game calls for an alliance like we have to have one, we will do it, okay? Such as Guild Wars 2. However, we will not guild with exploiters, cheaters, hackers, flamers, disrespecters, which are basically the cats that are going to just, maybe they don't cheat, but they're the ones that yell and shout constantly saying F this, F that, and telling people that they can, you know, the teabag word and all that kind of jazz that they do. We are not going to do that. We're not going to be associated with that. That's one of the things that when we did the Titan Alliance, it kind of took a while to get all these guilds together, because it was a decent interview process. I say decent, it was a very long process, and a lot of guilds did not make the cut because of those types of things, and we're just not going to deal with it. And we've become even more rigid in our old age, where we're not going to deal with that kind of stuff. I don't need that. You know, we're going to have to. So
blood pressure's high enough already.
yeah, absolutely. But the other thing is, we would prefer if we can just, we like to be self-sustaining. So we don't particularly want to do an alliance again. We would do it if the game called for it, but I'm not going to make an alliance to take over a server. I'm not doing that. I've seen that in games too, especially ArcAge. Some of those ruin those servers, just these giant alliances of everyone on either side that are just playing together, hoarding this area, and these people that are supposed to be fighting each other, they're not. They're just hoarding together and just killing raid bosses on cooldown, stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of that. I think that's horrendous, and I will not be a part of that. And Condemn will not be a part of something that's going to kill the server. We're just not going to do that. So I guess the alliance we would be up for with no problem, like a trade alliance, like a trading, crafting kind of thing like that, for sure. So no matter what the server calls for, we will be more than happy to work with other guilds that are crafting and those types of things. Like we had to do that in Vanguard too. If y'all remember, when the servers merged, that's when those guild halls came out, and you had to do all sorts of stuff. You needed tons of granite, you needed high-level diplomacy, you needed all sorts of stuff that was done. So we kind of got together with a few other guilds and did a kind of a crafting thing. We would trade around pieces of diplomacy, things that we needed for this, diplomacy stuff needed for that. We trade granite, we trade this, and we kind of fill in the parts that we didn't have. And it was kind of a crafting alliance for that. And that was cool, and that was a free-for-all server, and we did that.
Cool.
Nice.
I'm going to ask one more guild question before we move on.
Maybe Josh has one as well. So
do you, Josh? I'm sorry.
I don't.
You could say, shove it, Lex. Let me go.
Lex, you have my blessings.
Okay. If someone out there is looking at Condemned, thinking it might be the home for them, where could they go to learn more?
Oh, yes. All right. So let me hook you up with this. So there's a bunch of stuff that y'all can do. This is going to be I guess it's not going to be a shameless plug anymore since you asked me for it. So here we go.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of different places you can find Team C&D. Obviously, if you're already on Pantheon's website and you're already on the forums, you can just go to the Team Condemned, Team C&D on there, and you're going to see us right usually near the top on the recruitment stuff and the recruitment threads. But Team C&D on the U of the Tube, at Are You Condemned in the Twitterverse, Team C&D on Facebook. And those are the big places that you're going to be able to see us for sure, is there. And then, of course, teamcnd.com, where you can apply and you can see the news and you can see all sorts of wonderful things that Condemned's got going on right there at teamcnd.com.
Very nice.
So, Josh, move us along.
Right. I was just waiting for people to take it down. But yes, so recently, Visionary Realms asked the question, player housing, open world, instance, or either one is fine. What are your thoughts on this, Wisdom?
Okay, I'm gonna channel myself. I'm gonna close my eyes and channel myself back to the day. So this is what I love. This is what I like to see. When those servers merged to Sartok, PvP. They opened up these islands. There was an island where player housing could be. And player housing was open world. It was not instance-based. It was just a beautiful, in the large, slow travel world, which was wonderful. So we had to get in boats. We traveled down, and we sat in the water and logged out where it would have popped up for the island would magically appear. We got in, we got up there, we got our houses down, we got everything done. Then what occurred is the enemy guilds found where our island was, and they tried to stop us from doing what we wanted to do, trying to steal our resources and do that kind of stuff. We went on in there, and we had a giant 6-hour PvP battle with the majority of the guilds on the Sartok server. It was the most delicious, fun, meaningful PvP I have almost ever been a part of. And the thing about that is, too, on free-for-all, you can hit your own people on a free-for-all server, so you need to have the kindness, the organization, don't AoE on yourself, all that kind of stuff. And I believe when it first started, being in a guild did not stop the AoEs from hitting your teammates. It still hit them. So you had to be careful. I think they changed that. Don't hold me to that. It was 10 years ago. Give me a break. It was so much fun. So I really want the housing to be like UO style. And y'all played UO, houses in the world. I want it to be like Vanguard, Saga, Heroes. I want it to be like Star. Okay, Paradise, I remember this about Galaxies. Houses all over the place in the open world and storefronts. Please let me be able to sell my goods, my clothing, my ale, my foods, whatever, in Wisdom's Shop of Goodness. And you just come on in, you can have waypoints, you can put up signs that you can come on in and you can shop at a house. That would be cool. That would be fantastic. Where did that go? I mean, those are from games that were UO, Galaxies, 15 years ago. Why aren't those in game still?
Yeah, that is true.
I wish I had an answer because I miss them too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, let's fast forward 3 years. What do you imagine Pantheon has become?
What do I imagine or what do I hope for?
It could be a little of both.
Okay. So, in my perfect world, I had so much fun with Vanguard. Vanguard was the most fun I've ever had in any game, even with its incredible amount of faults that it had. Right? I mean, everyone that played, everyone knew, especially if you played on the PvP server. I don't know if the PvE server was as bad, but there was lots of people that found exploiting and then were able to download some questionable programs that allow them to do questionable activities in game and against you, right? So I would love to have the Vanguard, basically just a Vanguard that is 100% fixed and just works 100% across the board. I would love that. If it is that, I would be there for so long. I want it to be the game that we never leave. I want it to be so delicious and my heart so taken that when Star Citizen comes out, I forget of all. I will not say how much I have in it, but I have a good amount. That I will just not care. And I will never play the game because Pantheon is just everything that I've missed from my childhood. You know what I'm saying? And I'm playing it and I'm loving it. But that's where I hope, and that's where I envision the game. I think the community in Pantheon is much cleaner and nicer and less trolly than much other communities that I've seen thus far, which is very cool. So I dig people putting out media. I dig you guys for doing like the podcasts and the interviews and all that kind of jazz. You got that cat, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Was it Basgrim? Yes. He travels around, does interviews at the conventions and stuff. I mean, that's cool. And that's a really cool thing that this community has. And I love to see that just keep growing, that more people get on board, putting out more stuff, more podcasts, more art, more shows. Just be cool across the board. That was just kind of kept rolling down the hill.
Yeah, nice. So would you attend a Pantheon type event, and how far would you travel to get there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you an example that we have done that already a couple of times in some games. So in SWTOR, we were invited by BioWare to come on down to the Guild Summit down in Texas. I believe they paid for 2 tickets and 2 rooms. They also said if anyone in the area wanted to come, that they would get the VIP badge and they would get the free admission, all that kind of jazz. So we got plane tickets, we got rooms to go down there. Unfortunately, my girl got in a car accident at the time, so it cut my SWORD tour time a lot because I was helping her out quite a bit. And she's okay. Don't worry about that. She's okay now, so that's all good. But so I was unable to go, but some of our raid leaders were able to go. Now, if that would have happened, I would have gave off my ticket to someone else regardless, and I would have just paid. I would have flown down and gone just myself. So that kind of stuff is cool. So absolutely, Pantheon has one of these cool like guild summit things or something like that. It's in Dallas, it's in California, it's in New York, wherever it is. It could be in Mexico. It doesn't matter to me. I will definitely go check it out. I mean, I'd be down with that. Like once I'm getting, my health's getting better and I'm getting that sparkle back in my eyes. So once it's all rocking and rolling, then I'll go fly far away to go check out a fanfare for sure.
Awesome. Nice. So let's throw out everything you just, you've talked about for the last hour. The most important question of all, the only question that matters: who is the VOT host with the most?
Oh, can I answer that? I don't want to, oh my goodness. Oh, see, you hear my dog? My dog's on the ground. Like little Gilbert's all talking about it. He's trying to put his 2 cents in. Let's see. I mean, y'all got some great attributes to like the work that y'all do. Some of y'all got some real good accents. Sorry, Canada, your accent ain't that good, but the other cats, fantastic accents, man. But it's so hard to choose just one. Can I choose the frog? Because the frog's a really cool picture up in there. Let's see. Can I? You know what? I'm kind of like a host today. Can I just choose myself? Can I choose?
It's the VOT host with the most.
Exactly. You can't go that
well then,
I'm pretty sure if you joined the VOT, I'd have pirates knocking on my door, and I'd be sitting there going, "I'm so sorry, don't beat me."
But I will go with you all are equal, and you all are fantastic in the job that you do, and the community that you reach out to in Pantheon. So I love your service, and keep it on rolling.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and just take that for my vote.
Hey, do whatever you need, okay? Do whatever you need. Remember, you are only a member.
Member with more pull than the leader.
Yeah, I'll let you guys all believe that, whatever. Anyway, Shy.
Yes.
Are there any questions in chat for Wisdom?
Well, he pretty much answered most of them already, but the one that was asked by the Stallion 1, he wanted to know what Wisdom thought about looting systems, personal loot, loot council, DKP, seniority, etc.
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. All right. So in Condemned, loot system, first off, loot council, no. We are, even being a world first progression guild, a lot of those are some sort of loot / DKP, because it's technically people think you can go through faster and push quicker when you kill the boss and move to the next one real fast. If you do it just like that, not necessarily the case. If you do it organized and do it fast and do it properly, you don't need to do that. But we believe in fairness across the board. I could be there. Let's say I'm a healer, right? And I've been here for 10 years. I'm part of the council. Item drops that is perfect for me. I don't just get it. I don't get it. I don't get to choose to get it. So what's going to happen is we use DKP. We use a very fair system. People accumulate DKP through events. So for example, if the event is 4 hours, we typically will have DKP for 3 of those hours, because we allow people from the West Coast to get on and start to play and get with the groups. We try to make it fair for everybody, right? So 3 out of those 4 hours are going to be DKP eligible. So you accumulate some. Now, you can also get DKP. So even if you can't make the events, but you're a valued teammate of the guild, you can do crafting team, you can do harvesting team, you can do other things that are good for the guild, and you can earn DKP that way as well. So even if something happens at work and now you got 2 weeks where you can't be on, but you don't want to be super far behind, well, guess what? You can still be on as long as you do the tasks that the council or crafting leads or whatever the task may be to help the guild, that kind of stuff. But we will never do a loot system. There will never be a loot council. There'll always be DKP. We will never do seniority. I don't care if you've been here 30 days or you've been here 10 years. As long as you are a full teammate of Condemned, which you passed like your probationary period and you haven't just joined the guild today and expect to get the legendary item that drops. However, during that probationary period, like those 3 weeks, you still acquire DKP and you can still use your DKP on items during those things. So you can still, you're just like a regular teammate. Even if you're technically not 100% condemned yet, you still get all the loot. It's good stuff.
Brilliant.
Awesome. So, any other questions, Shy? Or was that the one?
That was the one.
Okay.
That's the one. Wow. Only one question.
You answered them all.
You answered most of the ones that came up in chat, so that was the only one I found that you didn't answer.
So, that was our show with Wisdom from Condemned. Thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, it was great, Wisdom. Thank you.
Always welcome to come back.
Always.
And next week, we have no idea what we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about things.
I wanted to thank y'all so much for letting me on the show and having me on there. I'd like to leave y'all with a little word from Wisdom, from your main man, Wisdom, W Wisdom, right? Do not look where you fall. Always look where you slipped. Thank you so much for having me on. You all have a wonderful day, and I appreciate allowing me on your show.
Very wise words. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And we'll leave it at that. Good night. See you next week.
Night, guys.
Have a great weekend.